boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here on today's museum quality, high-flying I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Two things over the weekend made me super duper happy. Number one, Ghostface Killah released a record, Supreme Clientele 2, which is awesome. And the Netflix documentary about Jerry Jones and the 1990 Dallas Cowboys is so freaking good. I never thought that watching anything that has anything to do with the Dallas Cowboys would make me cry, but that documentary made me cry not once, but 2 times. It's fantastic. I break that down, give it 2 cowboy hats up, and so much more in a hard-hitting, fully disruptive, museum quality I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming up right now. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dutch Brothers. Start this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real nice. Start this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real loud. But most importantly, start this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real funky. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Lickety, let's go, baby.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.
Boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Welcome to the Iron Dome of Disruption. Welcome to the Ziggity Zone of Disruption. My name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Inflamed Ashkenazi, a.k.a. the Sultan Sniff, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo, a.k.a. the Raging Bullshit. Hope everybody's feeling real good. Hope everybody's feeling real safe. Hope everybody is feeling super duper sane as we are heading into the last few days of summer 2025. Enjoy it while you can, folks. Enjoy it while you can. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct from New York City, baby. NYC, baby. The Big Apple, baby. Where Election Day. I'm not going to go down a Zoran the Moron rant, or maybe I will, but Election Day is November 4th. Election 2025 is November 4th, so we can complain, we can whine, or we can get out there and vote. I don't like to curse early on in the podcast, but we could get out there and vote. And just so you know, I will be on tour. I am doing shows starting in September 25th, 26th, 27th in Jersey, baby. I'll be at the Stress Factory, Providence. I'll be in Providence, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I will be in Denver, October 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll be in Levittown, Long Island, October 7th and 8th, Arlington, Virginia. I've never performed in Arlington, Virginia. I don't think I've ever been to Arlington, Virginia. I'll be down there November 13th, 14th, and 15th. All tickets, all information available at michaelrapaportcomedy.com. I'll be in Calgary, November 17th and 18th. All tickets, all information is available at michaelrapaportcomedy.com. I am kicking off in Jersey, September 25th, 26th, 27th. Providence, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Denver, October 9th, 10th, and 11th. michaelrapaportcomedy.com. Come see me live, man. It's fun. We're going to have a good time. Oh, we're going to have a real nice time. And if you come see me live, you listen to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, all you got to do is say, yo, Dingo. DM me. Say Dingo. Or if you come to a show, say Dingo. I will do my very best to come over to you, hang out, give you 5, take a selfie, sign a book, whatever you want. Or just dap you up. So much to discuss. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We're heading into football season. Before I get into how much I love the Netflix Jerry Jones documentary called The Gambler and His Cowboys, which, before I even get into that, I want to get into how much I love Ghostface Killah's Supreme Clientele 2. Oops, Ghost, you did it again. Ghostface Killah Supreme Clientele dropped the other day, and it is everything that you would want from a Ghostface record in 2025. It is everything that you'd want from a follow-up to the classic, almost 30 years Supreme Clientele. It's Ghostface. He's talking his shit. It's fun. It's funny. He's not trying to be young. He's in his vibe, in his lane, doing Ghostface shit. And I am so happy that this project, this record, Ghostface Killah, Supreme Clientele 2, Part 2 came out, and it lived up to all my hype and everybody's expectations. I'm sure everybody's happy about it. I see a lot of people on the internet talking about it, saying how much they love it. Ghostface is just so one of one, so unique, so himself. Like I said, doesn't try to be young, doesn't try to evolve into what might work in today's hip-hop market, if there is a hip-hop market. But with somebody like Ghost putting out a record like that, I felt like hope was alive. The beats are Ghostface beats. The vibes are Ghostface vibes. There's skits. There's a joint on. There's songs that aren't really even songs. It's almost got a mixtape feel. And I say that in the best, most respectful way. It's almost like a mixtape feel, this Ghostface record, Supreme Clientele. Like there's a song, Georgie Porgy, where he's rhyming on that Georgie Porgy beat. That Toto sample, which of course, MC Lyte sampled on Georgie Porgy, and it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and he's talking over it, and it's just he's rhyming over break beats. There's a joint called Break Beats where he's just rhyming over break beats, and it's literally like a Ron G or a Kid Capri or just like one of these old school mixtapes that you might have gotten off the radio on Mr. Magic or Red Alert or Chuck Chill Out. And I just, with the Ghostface record, Supreme Clientele, like I said, it's not trying to be anything other than a dope new Ghostface Killah record. Tony Stark's Ghost Dini. Did you ever see Ghostface Killah when he was on Couples Therapy? Remember that show, Couples Therapy? I believe it was Dr. Drew. I think it was VH1. Yo, when Ghostface was on there with his girlfriend or his wife, his Earth, reality TV gold. I don't know if he was on the same season as Tom Sizemore, the late great Tom Sizemore, but when Ghostface Killah was on Couples Therapy on VH1, I believe it was on VH1, me and my wife were just like, yo, he was himself. He was offensive at times, but he was so funny. And I remember one time I saw was it Ghostface and Raekwon performing? Was it Ghostface, Raekwon, and Rakim, or maybe it was a separate concert, but it was at the same place. I remember I saw Ghostface and Raekwon performing, and I was backstage, and I was having a deep dive conversation with Ghost about the Knicks and basketball and what was ever going on that season, and it was captivating. It was literally one of the greatest conversations, the most unusual but spot-on conversations I've ever had with anybody about sports. Ghostface Killah is a sports head. He was talking about the Knicks. I can't remember specific. I know we were talking about the Knicks, and I was bugging because I never heard him talk about sports. He doesn't really talk. He'll make a sports reference on records, but I've never seen him like on a podcast talk about sports. But I'm pretty sure Ghostface Killah could have an all sports podcast, and it would be bugged the fuck out, because just the way he speaks and his point of view and his use of slang and language and just his whole essence is just one of one. So I just really love the Supreme Clientele 2 record. Download it, buy it, cop it, play it, listen to it in your car, listen to it in your headphones. It's a workout record. It's obviously a driving record because it's Ghostface Killah. Iron Man, Tony Stark's. Like I said, I watched it on a whim. I wasn't even going to watch it. And I'm so glad I watched it. There's a Netflix documentary called America's Team, The Gambler, and his Cowboys. And it's 8 parts. It's on Netflix. And I don't care if you're a football fan. I don't care if you're a Dallas Cowboy hater. This is a great, great docu-series. I can't say enough about America's team, the Gambler, and his Cowboys, where, of course, Jerry Jones is the focus, and it's just so well done. It's done by the Way brothers, who did that Wild Wild West documentary, which is another documentary. They were on the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. If you haven't seen Wild Wild West, that's a way, way, way bugged out documentary about a cult, a sex cult, and I believe it was Utah, and it's excellent. It is. These guys are fucking top-notch documentary filmmakers, and they've done a few other things. They did those Netflix Untolds, and I believe this is their first series since Wild Wild West, which again is 2 thumbs up. And that podcast with the Way brothers, I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, was right after that, and they're just great filmmakers. And I think I want to get them back on, because I can't even imagine when you're telling a story that spans this many years and has this many characters. Of course, Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Tom Landry, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith, Neon Deion Sanders, Barry Switzer, and all the players. They're all in it, and it's just from the beginning. I was just captivated by the filmmaking, and I watched it with my wife, and like I said, she could really care less, and I just thought it was going to be like something we played in the background, and we were watching it, and we were just like, holy shit, we were enthralled, we enjoyed it, we were entertained, we cried. I fucking cried watching the Dallas Cowboys Jerry Jones doc. I cried a few times. Only sports can make grown men cry over and over and over. And it had me and my wife crying because they're flawed people. Jerry Jones is a flawed, very flawed, tough, unique, stubborn, hungry, badass motherfucker. And I had it all wrong. I had it all wrong for all these years. My Dallas Cowboys hate. Blind hate. I hate still to this day. Let me tell you something. Jerry Jones, this documentary, and the filmmakers, it might have given me perspective, but I will never back down from this is like just being born. I mean, this is just the way I came out of the womb. My parents didn't say, oh, you got to hate the Cowboys, you got to root for the Giants, you got to hate the Cowboys, you got to root for the Steelers. It was easy for me to hate these motherfuckers when I was a kid. It came natural. But like I said, growing up, I had such disdain for the Cowboys that when they started doing well again after their decline in the 80s with the Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, the triplets, the firing of Tom Landry, the buying of the team, of course, Jerry Jones, which set the whole thing off. I didn't pay attention to the minutia of it. I just wanted them to lose so bad. And when they did good, it was just like white noise. Like, fuck it. Okay, they're gonna get their asses kicked next year. But they were thriving. And like I said, the film follows and tells a story through the centerpiece, who's Jerry Jones, who bought this team, who's an oil man. And he talks about buying oil. The way he's like a fucking great actor. Jerry Jones, he should do a one-man show. Jerry Jones should do it, like, obviously he won't, but Jerry Jones on Broadway, I'm going to tell my story my way, goddammit. I'm Jerry Jones. I'm going to tell my story, and I'm going to tell my story my way on Broadway. God damn it. He's just captivating, and he's only in America. Jerry Jones is an only in America story, but he talks about, he's an oil man, and he told one story about spending $800,000 on one hole, one rig. I bought one rig, I spent $800,000. And when that oil came out, he says, have you ever heard oil come out? You could hear it. You don't just hear it. You don't just hear it a little bit. It gushes. And I knew I had a gusher because it was yelling. it was screaming. It was like thunder. And he goes, off that one investment of $800,000, I made 100 million. And you're just like, fuck, man, Jerry Jones, you are a fucking badass. And then he talks about at one point, he had an opportunity to buy the San Diego Chargers. He was in cahoots with the Teamsters. He was doing business with the Teamsters. And Jimmy Hoffa, yes, that Jimmy Hoffa was trying to convince him. And they had a deal, an opportunity to buy the San Diego Chargers. And he told his dad about the deal. And his dad was like, son, you can't buy them Chargers because you're going to wind up dead in the river. And you're going to be keister up and keister down. And he does this old school Texas shit where he'll do like these old school Texas sayings. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, well, you know, son, when you're about to skin a pig, you always fry an egg. My daddy always said, don't run when you could hop. And boy, I never stopped hopping. And I'll tell you something. Every time Jerry Jones says, boy, you're like, where's this going? You don't know where, because the way he says, boy, but he just does that old country shit. Like he's got an old country saying that his mama told him, or his grandma told him, or the guy at the gas station always said when negotiating with agents. Make sure you tell him, son. Make sure you tell him. Well, my mama used to say, don't go for someone when they ask twice. When they ask twice for you, always stick with it. And you're like, what the fuck? But he makes sense. Somehow it makes sense with the way Jerry Jones gives these analogies. And he's just so captivating. And I just didn't know about the backstory between him and Jerry Jones, that they were college football teammates. And obviously Jerry Jones, he talks about like his coach telling him, say, you have the least threshold for pain on this team, son. His coach told him that. So he always sort of had this inferiority thing, and he loved football and he played, but he was never that dude. Jimmy Johnson, of course, Jimmy Johnson with the good hair. Talk about Gavin with the good, talk about some of the greatest hair of all time. Jimmy Johnson now, I don't know how old Jimmy Johnson is. He got fucking nice hair on him, boy. And to see him in this documentary throughout the years, that hair was always thick. He got that Paul George deep dish hairline. Jimmy Johnson got a nice thick head of hair. But their relationship and how when he hired him for the Cowboys and they fired Tom Landry, and even me, I remember in 1989 when they fired Tom Landry, how big of a deal that was. It was like an international incident. Like it was like, even if you hated the Cowboys, like, you son of a bitch, you're firing Tom Landry, you son of a, who is this dirty dog? And they took a risk because Tom Landry, was an old regime and he needed to bring in the new regime. And obviously at first they sucked. And then I forgot all about this too. Herschel Walker, the Herschel Walker trade it's talked about a lot. And Herschel Walker's in the documentary, and Herschel Walker actually talks about himself in the third party. But Herschel Walker acknowledges, I'm talking about myself in the third party, which is a lot better than some people in these documentaries. Some people in these documentaries, especially athletes, they'll be like, well, Dennis Rodman this, and, Paul Pierce will be like, well, Paul Pierce this, and, certain athletes, they'll just start talking about themselves in the third party. At least Herschel Walker had the self-awareness to go, I am talking about myself in the third party. My wife is going to tease me about it. But that trade with Herschel Walker is really the thing, the bane of the fracturing of their relationship between Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson, because who got the credit? And at the time it was scrutinized, but they were able to acquire draft picks and they were able to acquire players and cut them. It was just a brilliant trade, but they never, ever got over who was going to take the credit for those, for that trade with Herschel Walker. And then of course they drafted Michael Irving, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and they started kicking ass, and they break down those games and how they came close, and then how they got to the conference championship, and then they break down those games, those classic tough games on those dirty candlestick field games between the 49ers, and they just, the way the filmmaking's awesome. The filmmaking is awesome, and then it goes back in time, and it'll continue to tell you about Jerry Jones' story and Jimmy Johnson's story, and how it sort of informs what happened later on in their life. Anyway, like I said, for somebody like myself who literally has blind hate for the Dallas Cowboys. And from my wife, who just likes watching hot football players, we were captivated by the entire 8-episode documentary, America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. And they're all in it. They're very honest. They're very flawed. And like I said, I cried a few times. Michael Irvin, one episode is called The Cocaine Cowboy. And it breaks down the entire Michael Irvin cocaine and the hookers and the strippers. And there was an attempted threat on his life from a police officer. This has to be a movie. This has to be a movie. The way Ben Affleck did Air, the way that HBO did the Lakers and the Celtics. This has to be a movie or a series because it's so fucking compelling and it's so dramatic and it's so dysfunctional. And you're rooting for all of them, and they're all flawed men. Jerry Jones is flawed. Jimmy Johnson is flawed. Michael Irvin is crazy flawed. Troy Aikman, you learn about his father. He's flawed. The one who seemed the most sanest was kind of Emmett Smith. But even he, he basically said, I had my fun. He was talking about the women. He goes, I had my fun. That's all I'm going to say. Like, they were going nuts down in Dallas. And then, of course, Deion Sanders is in it. This will make a fantastic either a movie or a miniseries. And I'm sure there's been discussions about it because it's just so good. And it has a beginning, middle, and end, and a backstory. And each character is just so fucking compelling and interesting. And like I said, if you're a football fan, you should watch it. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you should definitely watch it. And even if you're a Dallas Cowboys hater, absolutely two cowboy hats up for America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys on Netflix. It's fucking awesome. And it'll get you pumped. It'll get you pumped for the NFL season, which is right around the corner. What else is going on? I am in the NFL state of mind. And although my expectations are low for my New York Giants, I would be remiss if I didn't think, and it didn't cross my mind right before the start of the NFL season, knowing that the Hall of Fame has made their inductions again, that my quarterback, talk about Dallas Cowboys when Terrell Owens said, my fucking quarterback, Eli Manning is not in the Hall of Fame yet. What's the problem? Why is Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champion, not in the Hall of Fame yet? Not one, two times, 2 days, 2 Sundays when the whole world was watching. Eli Manning brought Bill Belichick and Tom Brady to their knees. Gisele Bunkin to her knees, respectfully. I don't care how many interceptions he's thrown. I don't care that he had that bewildered, confused look on his face if things were going good or bad. Eli Manning must be in the Hall of Fame. Why isn't Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame now? Numbers. 2, not 1, 2. 2-time Super Bowl champion. 234 games played. Talk about Ghostface Killah. Talk about Iron Man. Eli Manning is an Iron Man. Eli Manning, even though he looked baffled, dazed and confused, tough as fucking nails. And he was taking shots. He was like a rock'em sock'em robot. 234 games, like a tank. Like a big, funny-looking tank. Eli Manning was always there. 210 consecutive starts. You know how hard that is to play 210 consecutive starts? Especially when things are not going your way. Did I mention he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion with 210 consecutive starts? 57 Gs, 57,000 plus yards passing. Did I mention he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback who brought Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to his knees? 366 touchdowns. That ain't a game manager. That's not happenstance. That's not, I'm just handing the ball off to him and dinking it over there. We're talking about 366 touchdowns. 0 games missed due to injury. How ironic that I mentioned Ghostface Killah, a.k.a. Tony Starks, a.k.a. Iron Man, and now I'm talking about Eli Manning, a.k.a. Iron Man. 0 games. He missed 0 games due to injury. And in case I might have forgotten it, Eli Manning is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. So we could talk about a few interceptions here and there. We could talk about a few flub plays here and there. But he brought the chip home, the ring, on the biggest of the biggest stages. Not once. No. Twice. Eli Manning must be put in the Hall of Fame immediately now. Cut the shit. Don't hate the player. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. And he won 2 of the biggest games ever, twice. I never thought I'd be doing my 3rd rant about dildos. I'm going to say it again. I never thought that I would have to do my 3rd rant about dildos. And it's been 3 weeks in a row. There's so many things, important things, that me, Michael Rapaport, should and could be talking about. But here I am, having to do another rant, another Dildo'nt rant. The other day in Nashville at a preseason NFL game, the guys are out there playing, the game's going on, people are enjoying their beers and their popcorn and their hot dogs, and some sick bastard chucked a green dildo onto the field. What's going on here, man? Dildo'nt. Stop throwing dildos onto the field. I thought it was just WNBA. Now you're throwing dildos onto the field during NFL games? You're going to throw it at the wrong guy. You're going to hit the wrong guy on the wrong day, in the wrong stadium, or the wrong Las Vegas Raider fan. You're going to think you're throwing it onto the field at a Las Vegas Raiders game. You're going to hit one of those Raider Nation animals, and who the fuck knows what's going to happen? You're putting yourself, you're putting the players, you're putting the coaches, you're putting the cheerleaders in harm's way. I should not be making my 3rd dildo rant in a row, yet here we are. It's not cool. It's not funny. It's time to grow up. We're going to stop throwing dildos at professional athletes. We're going to stop now before things get bad. Like I said, some of you maybe have never been hit in the head with a dildo, but I have. And I'm just saying, just let's stop. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that it is 690 days, 690 days. We're almost at 2 years. There are still 50 hostages in Gaza. 50 hostages have been held in captivity for 690 days now. We're going into close to 2 years of this, 2 of them whom are American. And there have been so many discussions about this, that, and the third. There have been so many accusations about this, that, and the third. There have been so many excuses about how this happened, where this happened, why this is happening. The one thing that hasn't been discussed collectively and agreed upon is freeing all of these hostages. There are 50 hostages that have not been treated. Not one of the 50 hostages, not one of the hostages that was ever held in captivity from the massacre, the slaughter, the violence, the arson, the kidnapping, and the rape of October 7, 2023, not one of them has been treated, touched, fed, looked at by the UN the Red Cross, the Blue Cross, World Kitchen this, World Kitchen that, USA that, UNRWA this, UNRWA that. Not one charity, not one of these world aid groups, none of these supplies, not one hostage has been touched, looked at, or treated. While in captivity, there are 50 hostages remaining in Gaza, 50 hostages, 2 of whom are American citizens. There's no UN treatment. There's no Red Cross, Blue Shield, UNRWA, nothing. Food, talk about food, starvation, aid, all that shit. No hostage has been treated. That's a fucking war crime. That's a fucking war crime. And they've been held for close to 2 years now. And it's so crazy that people that are Zionist, people that are adamant Jews about freeing up the hostages, we have to acknowledge the shit that the Free Palestine pissheads don't. Obviously, this is a war. There's mistakes being made. There are innocent people that have been hurt. There are innocent people that have been unalived by the IDF. It's a terrible, horrible war. But the fake news, the lies that have been perpetuated, this idea that all these press people and photographers and photojournalists and journalists have been killed is fucking bullshit and exaggerated. Yes, I am sure. I guarantee you that there have been journalists that have been killed. But there's one journalist who proudly shot videotape, proudly shot photographs wrapped up in the scarves and the masks. You can only see his beady little fucking terrorist eyes. I don't even know what this guy's name is. Damadamadu or Damadamadu Samarada, whatever the fuck his name is. And they're saying, oh, this photojournalist, this journalist for whoever the fuck they say he works for, Al Jazeera was killed. Al Jazeera was killed. This guy was videotaping with his Hamas costume on the return of the Bibas family. This guy was videotaping and shooting photographs, the return of the hostages. This is not a photojournalist. This is a Hamas guy that shoots content, propaganda content for terrorists. This isn't like fucking Al Roker, Walter Cronkite, Anderson Cooper. This is a terrorist guy who shoots content for Hamas. And like, well, he got killed. Yeah, he fucking got killed. That's what happens when you're hanging around Hamas shooting photos and content, propaganda content. Shit happens. He's a journalist. That motherfucker ain't Diane Sawyer. He's not Barbara Walters. He's a terrorist with a press pass. He's a terrorist with a fucking press pass. Like I said, I go to the basketball court, I shoot around. Does that make me Michael Jordan? I go jogging around Central Park. Am I Edwin Moses? I do somersaults when I'm stretching. Am I Mary Lou Retton? Get the fuck out of here. 50 hostages remain in Gaza. There are 50 hostages that are still in Gaza. It is now 690 days. I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm done. Make sure you tell a friend who tell a friend about the world's most disruptive podcast, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers. Take me out of here with something real nice. Take me out of here with something real loud. But most importantly, take me out of here with something super duper funky. It's the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm out.